Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of the Letter Archive, a place where the past still speaks. I'm Rachel, and each week we open a piece of history, one letter at a time. In this final episode of the Dooley Writes collection, we complete our little glimpse into a piece of 1920s history. At the end, we'll take a look at what became of our friends from the past. So get cozy and listen closely. The past is speaking to you. The following are real letters from the Dooley Writes collection.
Haleyville, Alabama. February 8th, 1924. Friday night. Dearest Jess, have just returned from church. The last 4 nights I have attended a BYPU training school which was conducted by Mr. and Mrs. Lambden, state workers. The book we have studied is Training in the Baptist Spirit, and it is quite interesting. We had our examination tonight, but I'm afraid I didn't make 100% as I did in Miss Barlow's school. Do you remember her? Your letter came this afternoon, and I was especially glad to get it, but a little disappointed because you didn't tell something I wanted to know. Mother wrote that you were to have been baptized last Sunday night, and I have been wondering if you really were. You don't know how glad I am, really? Tell me about it. I know your driving hasn't been pleasant lately on account of bad roads. They are the same way around here. It has been so cold this week that we wanted to use hot irons and bricks, but those 2 things have been forever banished from our room. By the way, did I tell you that Mrs. Foster, Missy Chulent received insurance to cover the damage, and after all the fire didn't break us up? Believe me, we were glad when that mattress and the other things were sent up here. Back to the weather. Of course, we haven't played tennis this week, and it doesn't seem that we will get to play next week. Do you like this fancy paper? This is what I used for my examination tonight. I like it. I'm very much disgusted with my friend WOD right now, and since the feeling is mutual, we have agreed to disagree and dissolve partnership. Last Monday night, he and another young man were coming down to play bridge. About 30 minutes after they should have been here, a neighbor called up and asked Nana and me to come over. We went and, of course, were not at home when the boys came. Were we awful? Mr. Foster takes up for the boys, and Mrs. Foster agrees with us. WOD called Tuesday night, but I had to go to church, so I doubt seriously if he will try to make amends again. Other people have been late in coming to see me, and I have been known to take it good-naturedly, but in such cases there was something akin to love. Now please, Jess, don't make a practice of being late just to have me say that. Have your tonsils still yet? Hope not. As ever. Jewel, Haleyville, Alabama, February 16, 1924. Saturday morning. Dearest Jess, the flowers are beautiful, and you don't know how much I appreciate the giver as well as the gift. They arrived in perfect condition. I used them Friday afternoon to decorate the stage for my pupils' recital. You didn't mind, did you? They surely looked pretty, and I was so glad I had them for that. The recital came out all right, but much better on account of the flowers, I'm sure. We were both glad to get the valentines, but I am terribly jealous because you sent Nana one. I've forgotten which church Dr. Ferguson pastors, and so I don't know which you joined, but I do know that I am glad. Of course, I appreciate the things you said to me, but I hardly feel that I deserve it all. We have surely had a full week. The concert Tuesday night given by Howard College Glee Club was very good. I believe it is the best glee club I've ever heard, even if it is an Alabama college. Some of the fellows serenaded Nana and me that night. The singing was so pretty that we didn't mind having our slumbers disturbed. Wednesday night we had company. A young man who used to live next door to Nana when they were children. He's a salesman and just happened to be in town that night. He came over before breakfast the next morning and played tennis with us, too. The calendar party tonight is also going to be a tacky party, and we have spent the most of the morning hunting up something to wear. We have succeeded to such an extent that I may not have the nerve to wear the garb we have planned. It is to be given at the hotel. Nana and WDD are to have a mock wedding tonight, and the whole thing is a perfect scream. It is so absurd. Did I tell you about the letter of apology from WDD? It was very nice, and I'm glad he had sense enough to do it. Now we can at least converse when we see each other. Of course, he will have to come to see Nana after tonight. Our Negro minstrel Thursday night was punk. After it was over, the Negroes in town gave a party for the show people. Minnie's, our cook husband, came home unexpectedly and found her at the party. She refused to come home when he wanted her to, so he proceeded to use his knife on her. They woke Foster about 12 o'clock, and we had an exciting time around here. Minnie isn't cut badly, however, as he said he just wanted to scare her. Can you imagine all that? Don't you think this interesting? This is about to become news items, so I'm going to stop. As ever, Dooley. Haleyville, Alabama, February 29th, 1924. Dearest Jess, you have perfectly good reasons for waiting so long to answer, but of course the natural thing for me to say is that you spend all your time going to see Malda May. Can't you just hear me saying that and see how mean I look? Really, I'm glad you saw her, as I would like very much to see her myself. Is she the same old Malda May? I'll be real nice about it if you will tell me how many times you went to see her. You just never could guess where I was last weekend, unless you have been home and Mother told you. Can you guess? Well, I'll tell you. My cousin in Birmingham called me up last Thursday and invited me down for the weekend. I was a guest where he boarded, and I can't begin to tell you how I enjoyed being away from Haleyville for a few days. The object of my visit at this particular time, however, was to hear Sousa's band. Surely enjoyed it. Don't you envy me? The concert was given in the new Masonic Temple. I had heard so much about the $1 Million Temple that I was glad to see it with my own eyes. Besides getting to hear Sousa's band along with it. I surely do like that little old Birmingham town, and I'm going back again. Sometime. Haven't had much excitement this week? We have stayed at home every night. We haven't a cook yet, and Mrs. Foster has been sick today. You should have seen Nana and me cooking supper tonight. We didn't want to bother Mrs. Foster by asking questions, and we had an awful time finding everything. But at last we had a delicious supper. The twins said it should be good. We were long enough preparing it. Wasn't that horrid? Mr. Foster says he will heartily recommend us. If you didn't already know about my cooking, I would have you write to him. Tomorrow I am invited to a birthday dinner of one of the doctors here in town. The invitation is quite a puzzle to me, as I can't figure out where I come in. He is a good Baptist brother, however, and teaches the young men's class, and that is my only solution. Nevertheless, I'll be there for the big event. Miss McDuffie and I are entertaining the Culture Club tomorrow afternoon, and of course that will be a pleasant affair. We have worked half of tonight getting things ready, and I am tired. Tomorrow night, we are going to a bridge party. Wonder why everything is happening on Saturday this week. Nana is going to be gone next weekend, and I'm already dreading being lonesome. As ever, Dooley. Magazine, Arkansas, March 15th, 2024. Tuesday night. Dear Jess, what kind of somebody do you think I am anyway? Now, this isn't a question for you to answer, but just to give you something to think about. For the past week, I've been the busiest woman you ever knew. Besides my work, you see, there was the fair. And I couldn't afford to miss all of that, although I didn't go many times. One night, Mr. Kessler made me ride on the Ferris wheel with him and Kenneth. Business wasn't rushing, and they certainly gave us our money's worth. It was so cold I nearly froze, and I've had a very bad cold ever since. However, I think I'll survive. The best part of last week was the football game when we beat Boonville. We are proud of ourselves. Why on earth didn't you, Jack, come down last week? You don't know what you missed. But I know it is so busy that it makes going unpleasant. Jess, I received the chewing gum watch today and am well pleased. I must say that you are kindness personified, and I do appreciate it. Please let me know soon how much it cost. I have been lost all week without the watch, but I didn't expect it back so soon. I had such a lame life visiting at Danville and Belleville this weekend. Went down Saturday night and came back this a.m. Both the women with whom I boarded and all my former pupils were so darling to me that it made me wish I were back down there again. Then when I got back here, they gave me such a welcome that I guess I'm just glad I'm living anywhere. Really, I wish I could find only those people as nice as they are. If there were any reason I wouldn't feel it, don't flirt with the teachers too much and be a good child and go to Sunday school and church. J.L.N. April 8th, 1924. Haleyville, Alabama, Monday night. Dearest Jess, thanks awfully for the remembrance. Nana and I both appreciate the Wilson Hecky. What shall I call it? I appreciated it especially because I realized that you were still in the land of the living, and I took it for granted that I was. I have wanted to write to you, and above all, I've wanted to hear from you. I wish you didn't live close enough to hear about me through the home folks, and I'll be sure enough peeved at you. You would let me get sick and die before you would write an extra letter, wouldn't you? I'm aware of the fact that I owe you a letter, but really you can't imagine how busy I've been. For the last week or two, when I have had time, I've been, shall I admit it, too stubborn to write. I wanted to wait until you had written again. We have been and will be until school is out very busy with schoolwork. Then, too, I've never known the town people to be as nice to teachers as these people have been to Nina and me. There is something all the time, until my time is gone and I can't quite realize how. I think the people are just trying to rush us so that we'll regret having to leave. We have only 6 weeks more of school, and to me the time is flying. I shall regret having to leave Haleyville in a way, and yet I am terribly homesick and am looking forward to being home again. I'll be so glad to see all you folks again. Have I told you what I'm going to do next year? I've accepted a position at Mountain Home College, and I'm not at all thrilled. Well, I'll not try to tell you all that I have been doing. This is merely to get letters to circulating again and give you a chance to tell me if you like me in the same old way. Dooley? May 17th, 1924. Haleyville, Alabama. Friday night. Dearest Jess, we are just home from a play at the schoolhouse, and I surely am glad it is over because it has taken up all my time for 2 weeks. I haven't ceased to be thrilled yet because I was a bride, and W.D.D., the groom. I believe the play was a success all right, and I'm glad we made lots of money. We have only 1 week more of school, and there are the usual commencement things to practice. I'm going to be rushed to death, and still I don't see how we can get everything done. I can hardly wait to get home. It seems that I've become more anxious every day. Nana and one other teacher are coming back next year, and it surely makes me want to return when they start making plans. I leave here May 27th, but I'm going to stop in Birmingham, Montgomery, and Selma before coming on home. You know, a cousin, girl not out of high school, is coming home with me, and I'll have to wait a while at Selma until her school is out. It was sweet of you to ask me to come by Fort Smith, but I suppose I'd better go straight home from Little Rock, especially as I'll have company. You may come to Hartford to see me, however, if you wish. You have waited so long to write that I had almost decided you were going to end my acquaintance for keeps. Mother told me about seeing you last week, but said you had not been stopping at the house every time you came to town. She doesn't like it, and neither do I. You might as well start a reform right now. Turn over a new leaf. Nana and I are giving a mahjong party tomorrow, and of course it will be a swell affair. And we are doing it for the people who have done things for us, because the people here have been unusually nice to us. We are invited to the sophomore-senior party tomorrow night. Last Monday after school, we went on another picnic to Natural Bridge. It is one of the prettiest places I've ever seen. I only wish that we had gotten there early enough to take some pictures. If it isn't too much trouble, you might tell me what you think about my teaching at Mountain Home next year. You must be terribly thrilled over it, but I insist upon hearing it in your own words. Really, I do think it is nice that Clara Marie will be there too. Don't you? Love, Dooley. October 12th, 1925. Haleyville, Alabama. Wednesday. Dearest Jesse, it was perfectly sweet of you to write again before you had received my letter. I love for you to do things like that. Did you really go to Hartford? How was everyone? There is a Baptist student conference meeting in Fort Smith in November, and Mr. King plans to drive to Fort Smith for it. You can't imagine how much I'd like to go along. I know he will take some of the students, but I'm going to try to be real nice to him and see if he won't let me tag along. Wouldn't that be lovely fun? At last, that long-dreaded recital is over, and I am happy again. I'm sending one of the programs. We had a large audience, and they seemed so appreciative that I didn't mind as badly as I thought I would. Sissy and Mike sent some very pretty flowers. I'm sure I can't imagine why she is getting so kind. I told her to go ahead and ask the favor and not keep me in suspense. A revival meeting was begun at the Methodist Church last Sunday. The Baptist meeting starts the last Sunday in this month. See how good I'll have to be for a while? Did you read in the Gazette last week about our boys playing football in OR? It must have been some gum. The boys gave a report of their trip in chapel yesterday morning, and I laughed till my sides were sore. It's the first game they had ever played. But Coach said he took them to OR first in order to advertise the school. Methinks he did that all right. The boys declared, however, that they were not beaten in spirit. They are to play West Plains next Saturday, and they will surely have some chance of winning, as West Plains hasn't had football before either. You know, Gladys lives at West Plains, and she is going home Friday. Then Mr. King and Mr. Powell are going to take us other girls, teachers, over for the game Saturday. I am so thrilled over the prospects of getting to go somewhere that I can hardly wait. If it keeps on raining like it is right now, though, I'm afraid it will be too muddy to go. Don't you know it was such a good rainy morning for sleep that Gladys and I didn't hear a single bell? We were missed at breakfast, of course, and the girls fixed a lovely breakfast and brought it to our room. Acts like that certainly encourage laziness, but I'm going to see that they all get good grades in music this quarter. You have recently had what I would call a great honor bestowed upon you, but I don't know whether you will see it in that way or not. Frances Morton has named one of her cats for you. I think Gladys was the cause of it, because she seems to enjoy teasing me. Shall I kill the cat? Please don't tell me to do so. Hope everything is all right at the mine now, and that there will be not a single cloud to mar your happiness this month. Love, Dooley. December 24th, 1925. Wednesday. Dearest Jess, I, too, wish that you could have been here when I received the Christmas presents, because the expression on my face could tell you better than words how much I appreciate the gift. In fact, it fairly took my breath. Your gifts are always perfect. And again, I say that nothing could have pleased me more, except for you to have presented it in person. Mrs. Thompson wants to know if generosity or selfishness prompted the giving of such a gift. Isn't she trashy? Love, Dooley. Did you get a card the other day from Grace Lovelace? She said she sent one. She is one of our dearest kids.
Hello again. We've now come to the end of the Dooley Writes collection. I hope you enjoyed listening to some letters from the past. Here is some final information about Dooley and Jesse.
The life of Mr. Jesse Redyard. Jesse Redyard lived a life shaped by coal mining, tragedy, and survival. As a boy, Jesse's world was forever changed when a devastating mine explosion reportedly killed several members of his family, including his father. That tragedy stayed with him for the rest of his life and may have inspired the work he later dedicated himself to, mine safety. Jesse worked his way up through the coal industry at a time when mining was one of the deadliest jobs in America. He became a coal operator, owned mining interests of his own, and eventually served as state mine inspector for Arkansas. before moving into major safety and rescue work in West Virginia coal country. By the 1940s, Jesse was involved with the United States Bureau of Mines and directed rescue operations and mine safety programs during one of the most dangerous periods in Appalachian mining history. Newspaper articles from the era show him speaking publicly about mine explosions, safety procedures, and rescue equipment while navigating the intense politics surrounding coal production and worker protection. He also served during World War I and later became well known throughout mining communities in Arkansas and West Virginia as both an inspector and industry leader. But before all of that, before the government positions, the coal companies, and the mine investigations, Jesse appears briefly in the world of the Dooley letters. In the 1920s, newspaper society columns place him in the same social circles as Jewel L. Herod, attending dinners, bridge parties, and gatherings among young adults in Arkansas. For a short moment, the future mine safety official was simply a young man moving through small-town life alongside a talented music teacher whose letters would survive for nearly a century. Jesse Redyard died in 1974 at the age of 78. Today, his story survives not only in mining records and newspaper archives, but also in the background of the letters themselves, a reminder that the people behind these old pages often lived lives far larger and more complicated than we first imagine. The life of Jewel L. Herod, also known as Dooley. Jewel Herod Bodenhamer was far more than just a name in a stack of old letters. She was a classically trained pianist, a music teacher, a postmaster, and a woman who became deeply woven into the life of small-town Arkansas. Born in the early 1900s, Jewel studied music at Central Baptist College before continuing postgraduate work in conservatories in Chicago and Cincinnati. Something quite remarkable for a young woman from rural Arkansas during that era. In 1924, she arrived in Mountain Home, Arkansas, with her sister Clara to teach at Mountain Home Baptist College. Newspaper reviews from the time praised her piano performances and described her playing as technically brilliant and emotionally moving. One article simply stated, "Miss Herod's piano numbers were a treat to hear." But Jewel wasn't only known for music. Society columns show her attending bridge parties, rook games, picnics, and social gatherings throughout the 1920s. Through these tiny newspaper mentions, we get glimpses of a lively young woman building friendships, teaching music, and quietly becoming part of the community. In 1926, she married Horatio Record Rex Bodenhamer, publisher of the Baxter Bulletin. The local paper described them as two of the most highly esteemed young people of this community. Jewel continued teaching piano long after the college closed, giving lessons from her home for decades. Former residents later remembered that some students who couldn't afford lessons paid her with vegetables and produce instead of money. She later served as postmaster of Mountain Home from 1942 until 1963, becoming one of those familiar faces everyone in town knew. For listeners of the letter archive, Jewel's story adds an entirely new layer to the letters. The young woman writing playful, emotional, deeply human letters in the 1920s would eventually become a respected teacher, civic figure, wife, mother, and mentor, someone remembered long after the music stopped and the letters were tucked away.
That wraps up the Dooley Writes collection. If you'd like to hear more voices from the past, please follow and subscribe to the Letter Archive wherever you get your podcasts. To see these letters, photographs, and more, please visit theletterarchive.com. Next week, we dive even deeper into the past to hear about the travels of George, a 1900 salesman who writes sweet letters to his wife and children back home. So please come back soon. The past has more to say.